Hi, I'm Amanda Shearer, and welcome to this 20-day, 20 minutes or less yoga challenge. It's going to be for all levels, from beginner to experienced. And today we are going to start by doing just a yoga 101 that really breaks down a lot of the common poses and a lot of the other physical attributes of doing a yoga practice. So we are going to start by sitting down on our mat cross-legged. And I'm just going to start here first by explaining a few of the props that are commonly used in yoga, and I would recommend you getting no matter what level you're at. Blocks are really helpful and really important. They bring the earth closer to us to allow us to feel more comfortable and find our own challenges in various poses. This is a bolster, but you could use any pillow on hand. Also super valuable to allow our bodies to relax a little bit and find our comfortable challenge in poses that might be unfamiliar to us, or poses that we've done before and maybe we just want to relax into a little bit more. So for today, we're also just going to start in the seated position, and we're going to explain a little bit about breathing first. So breathing is super important in yoga vinyasa, which is a more of a faster pace flow through the yoga poses. And often with breathing is we want to, if we can, breathe in through our nose and out through our mouth. Studies have shown how beneficial that deep breathing can be for our mental health as well as our physical health, or any manifestations between the two. And so it's something that we really want to work on no matter what movements we're doing in yoga or when we're staying still. And you can practice it at any point throughout the day at any time. So for a moment here, just take a few breaths. Maybe close your eyes if you can, if that feels comfortable. In through your nose and out through your mouth. If your mind starts to wander here, just bring that focus back to your breath and count how many counts it takes. Inhale, exhale, bringing your awareness deeper into that cool feeling as you inhale air through your nostrils, and the warmth as you exhale it through your mouth. One more good breath here. Very good. And we want to, again, maintain that kind of breathing as much as we can. And we also cue our breathing in and out to our poses as we get moving, especially in faster flows. This 20-day challenge is going to include a huge variety. We're going to build up towards the end to do some more intense ones, but there's going to be a huge variety of different strength, cardio, basic flows, more relaxing and gentle flows. So there's something for everyone, and a way for you to get a totally holistic experience in our yoga movement. So the next thing we want to focus on, that we can all practice no matter what level we are, is our alignment, particularly of our spine, which is also super important in all the poses and movements that we do. So as we're seated here, bring your awareness to your seat bones, sinking into your mat, and then scan up through your lower spine. Often we all overarch that lower back because that's comfortable, or maybe even underarch that lower back. Try to find that nice neutral flat spine, maybe with just a soft curve in your lower back. So maybe we want to bring our hands here to our core and behind our back if that helps bring some more awareness there. But this takes a lot of work in our core. It's not just a passive position. It takes some work. So engaging those pelvic muscles and engaging our core muscles to find that nice flat lower back. This is actually how we bring some strength to this core area, which brings strength to our lower back, which is often where a lot of us, particularly us who are seated at desks, get a lot of pain. And this is all about strengthening that core, and that can strengthen and improve that pain in our lower back. So as we find that engagement here, not passive, we're really engaging all those muscles. The awareness is down for where our hips and our seat bones are on our mat. We're scanning all the way up, further up our spine, coming up to our shoulders. So with our core continuing to be engaged down here, bringing our focus also up here, letting our shoulder blades up and down relax. Take a moment to envision some wideness here in your chest, and we're envisioning our shoulders over our hip bones here. So everything is aligned in a nice rectangle. Our spine is aligned as much as we can, all the way up, reaching up through lengthening our neck And our head is in line with the rest of our spine. So the crown of our head is shooting up toward the ceiling. We're finding this vision of creating length from the crown of our head down to our tailbone. Our shoulders are nice and wide. Our chest is open. We're not overarching our upper back to get more width. We're really keeping that nice flatness that we want to imagine from the plane, from our hips up to our shoulders. So now that we've found this alignment, take a few more breaths here as we did before, closing our eyes, feeling how much of our body is working here. Engaging so many different parts, awareness on so many different parts of our body, our shoulders, our spine, our pelvis, our core, our hips. A few more breaths in through your nose and out through your mouth. One more time. Excellent. That's how we'll begin a lot of our practices going forward. And we'll also begin by setting an intention for what we want to feel or any goals we may have, or just what we want to tell ourselves for that practice for today. Today, we're going to skip that because we're kind of just breaking everything down and being a little bit choppy. But so we're going to move on to our first pose that I want to really dissect so we all feel good doing it. And that's going to be our child's pose, which you've probably heard of a lot. So we're going to come onto our knees and our hands, bringing our feet together, widening our knees. We're sending our hips back toward our heels. And we're reaching our arms forward, fingers nice and wide, and we're resting our forehead down on our mat. Now, there's lots of options here. You could put blocks underneath your pelvis. You could put blocks underneath your forehead at any height that feels good. The good thing about these blocks is there's 3 different heights you can use, or you can use more than one. So we're going to rest our forehead down here in child's pose, and we're going to feel that length in our shoulders, in our spine, as we send those hips back. And we continue to breathe here. With each exhale in our poses, we want to relax a little bit more. Relax your face, relax your jaw. Feel the length in your arms. And when we're in a pose, we are free to make any adjustments as we go. Maybe bring your prop in, maybe bring your prop out. Maybe adjusting any point where our body is meeting the floor. One more breath here. Excellent. Coming out of child's pose, we're going to bring our knees back together and we're going to break down downward dog, which is used so much in yoga and also between flows, so much. And it seems some people describe it as a relaxed pose, but it's really not. It's using all parts of our bodies. So it's really challenging. And if it's easy for you, this is a time to maybe dissect it a little more to bring some more challenge and engagement to different parts of your body. So as we do downward dog, we're planting our hands here on the floor, we're tucking our back toes under, and we're sending our hips up as we straighten our legs. The idea here is we want to push our heels down towards the mat, but they don't need to be anywhere near it really. We're finding whatever movement we have there as we find that stretch in our back legs. We want to let our head and neck relax in line with the rest of our spine. And maybe we want to soften our knees a little bit. The idea here is we want to bring as much length into our spine as we can. We're feeling engagement in our shoulders. We're feeling engagement in our core as we're tucking that belly button back towards our spine. We're feeling stretch in our the back of our legs. Feeling strength building in our arms. If anything, it's an active recovery pose because a lot of our body is working here. A few more breaths here. Very good. Now we're going to walk our feet up to the top of our mat, or however you want to come to a standing position. Maybe that's slowly rolling your back up, or maybe we're just standing. We're going to dissect now a warrior 2 pose. So that is also what we often see in the media, symbolizing what yoga is and yoga movement. So our front leg, we want to bring a wide leg stance here. Our front leg, our knee is over our ankle in a lunge position. Toes are pointing out the top of your mat. Our back leg, our foot is pointed at whatever angle feels good. Maybe that's a little more forward. Maybe it's a little more sideways, but that leg is basically straight. Maybe we don't want to lock it so that it's tense and uncomfortable. So maybe just a little bit of softness, but pretty much straight here. And we want to envision our hips and our shoulders and our chest facing this side of the room here compared to where that front leg is. So we're opening up those hips. We're feeling that stretch in that lunge leg as we do. Our hips and chest in alignment to the side of the room. We're opening up our arms to reach opposite ends of the room, finding length here, creating length and wideness in our chest. And we're gazing past our front fingertips. So as we find this pose, making any adjustments, take a moment to tuck that pelvis under, tucking that tailbone under so we're not overarching our back here and losing any engagement here in our core. Big challenge there, widening this front leg. Both arms remain strong, our front arm and our back arm. Shoulders are nice and relaxed, wide, neck is nice and long as we gaze over those front fingertips. And we breathe. And this pose is super challenging, even though it's one of the more basic ones that we see because it's done so often. There's so much engagement we can do here no matter what level we're at. Super challenging as we stay still here for me right now. And now we're going to transition to warrior one. So our legs stay in the same position here. But what we're doing is we're turning our hips and our chest to face the side of the room this time. So we're finding that lunge again. We're feeling that pull in this open hip as we try to open up our hips toward the front of the room. Our chest and shoulders are in line with those hips, facing the direction of our front foot. We're feeling different engagement in our glutes and our hips. Once again, engaging that core and that lower back and those pelvic muscles to keep that pelvis tucked under. And if we can hold our hands wherever feels good. But if we can, in warrior one, we want to raise our hands up here, reaching toward the ceiling. One more breath here. And release. Our last poses that we're going to break down here are just a forward fold and a standing mountain. So if we're coming here, feet about hip width apart, and we want to inhale into a tall mountain is when we stand up like this, reaching our arms up. Find that alignment. Pause here for one moment. Find that alignment that we found in the beginning. Shoulders over hips, core is engaged, lower back is curved just slightly, pelvis is tucked under, hips in line with our shoulders. Take another big inhale, lengthen here, and then fold forward. And in this fold, we're reaching toward the floor. We're going to let our head and neck completely relax here. There's lots of options. I'm going to turn toward the side here to show. We can bring blocks here, once again, at any height, bringing the earth closer to our hands, letting our neck and head relax here. We want to soften our knees so they're not locked, but maybe in our fold, we can even soften them even more to bring our chest lower to our thighs and allow our body to sink towards the floor even more if that feels more comfortable for you. But we're just going to go from here, this fold, inhale, exhale, and with our next inhale, we're going to go back up to tall mountain, straightening our body up once again, finding that alignment every time we do, and then fold once more with an exhale. Relax here for a few more breaths, maybe bringing a block, maybe softening the knees, whatever degree feels good. Relaxing the head and neck and the jaw. And release. And we're going to come back to a seated position, however we can get there. And those are just a few, obviously just a very few basic yoga poses. We're going to be doing those a lot over the next 20 days. There's so many other poses to do, but those ones we do quite a bit. So I just wanted to break them down. And I also just wanted to demonstrate that each pose, there's so much to it. So even when it's familiar, there's so much we can be doing to create more engagement in our body and building strength and flexibility and balance in maybe places we haven't been focusing on. Other few notes about yoga is that it can be done anywhere. We often get so overwhelmed with what yoga should look like, by the media. It can be done by anyone with any abilities. There are walls we can use, there are chairs we can use, there are so many props you can use. Doing whatever feels good and is kind to your body is perfect. You also do not need to be wearing anything specific. Of course, I'll be wearing mostly tight fitted things because I want to demonstrate what some of these poses look like, which is a little bit more easier when I'm wearing things that are fitted, so I can show a little more details of alignment and where our body is going. But anyone, anywhere can practice wearing anything. Most often for me, it's in pajamas or whatever I've been wearing that day. So don't get overwhelmed by what we see in the media or any challenging poses or thinking you can't do yoga because you're not flexible enough or you're not this enough or that enough. It really is for everybody. And I hope you join me for this 20-day challenge, and I'll see you tomorrow.